Good evening, and welcome to Wigmore Hall. Tonight's program features the pianist Andras Schiff, who will play the complete piano works of Franz Schubert. Sorry, it's going to be the same old stuff. Down with love, the flowers and rice and shoes. Down with love, the things that give you well-known blues. Down with things that give you that well-known pain. Take that moon and wrap it in cellophane. Down with love, let's liquidate all its friends. Moon and June and roses and rainbows ends. Down with songs that moan about night and day. Down with love, yes, take it away, away. Take it away, take it away. Give it back to the birds and the bees and the Viennese. Down with eyes romantic and stupid. Down with sighs, down with Cupid. Huh?
Are you thinking about getting laid tonight?
Love, love, hooray for love. Who is ever too blasé for love? Make this the night for love. If we have to fight, let's fight for love. Some sigh and cry for love. Ah, but in Paris they die for love. Some waste away for love. Just the same, hooray for love. It's the wonder of the world. It's a rocket to the moon. It gets you high, it gets you low, but once you get that glow, oh, some trust to fate for love, others have to take off weight for love. Some go berserk for love, loafers even go to work for love. Sad songs are sobbed for love, people have their noses bobbed for love. Some say we pay for love, just the same, hooray for love. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that smattering. And welcome to our live stream, I hope. The technical problems have been ironed out by now. I'm Byron Nilsson. Malcolm Kogut is tickling the plastic ivory stand-ins there. And we just heard two songs by Harold Arlen, a man who obviously wasn't taking sides on the issue of love. And you know, Down with Love contains one of two references to cellophane that I know of in marginally popular songs, the other being Noel Coward's I Like America, which reminds us of what a novelty cellophane was in its early days when it was invented. Well, sorry, I can't help it. You know, finding out things like that, well, at my age, it's about the only kind of private amusement I have left. Welcome to April Folly, our incisive and educational survey of love, which begins under the watchful eye of your parents. And who better to examine that phenomenon than Noel Coward? In a dear little village remote and obscure, a beautiful maiden resided. As to whether or not her intentions were pure, opinions were sharply divided. She loved to lie out 'neath the darkening sky and allow the night breeze to entrance her. She whispered her dreams to the birds flying by, but seldom received any answer. Over the field and along the lane, gentle Alice would love to stray. From each morning till end of the day, she would wander away unheeding. Dreaming her innocent dreams, she strolled, quite unaffected by heat or cold, frequently freckled or soaked with rain. Alice was out in the lane. Whom she met there every day, there was a question answered by none. But she'd get there, and she'd stay there, till whatever she did was undoubtedly done. Over the field and along the lane, both her parents would call in vain. Sadly, sorrowfully, they'd complain. Alice is at it again. Though that dear little village, surrounded by trees, had neither a school nor a college, gentle Alice acquired from the birds and the bees some exceedingly practical knowledge. The curious secrets that nature revealed she refused to allow to upset her. But she thought, when observing the beasts in the field, that things might have been organized better. Over the field and along the lane, gentle Alice would make up and take up her stand. The road was not exactly arterial, but it led to a town nearby, where quite a lot of masculine material caught her roving eye. She was ready to hitchhike, Cadillac or motorbike, she wasn't proud or choosy. All she was aiming to be was a pinked-up, minked-up, fly-by-night floozy, when old codgers gave her pearls as large as nuts on a chestnut tree. All she'd say was fiddle-dee-dee, the wages of sin'll be the death of me. Over the field and along the lane, gentle Alice's parents would wait hand in hand. Her dear old white-headed mother, wistfully sipping champagne, said, "We've spoiled the child, spared the rod. Open up the caviar and say thank God. We've got no cause to complain. Alice is at it again." And you know that Alice would go on to have a very public affair with a former New York governor. No, not that one. You got to go back a couple. Before changing her name again, marrying a wealthy huckster and becoming Secretary of Education under the previous administration. It's true. My wife, who is our technical director tonight, very much believes in the power of song, especially a love song to reveal your innermost secrets. And so, we dedicate this one to her. She has the whole script there. There are no surprises. I hold your hand in mine, dear. I press it to my lips. I take a healthy bite from your dainty fingertips. My joy would be complete, dear, if you were only here. But still I keep your hand as a precious souvenir. The night you died, I cut it off. I really don't know why. For now, each time I kiss it, I get bloodstains on my tie. So I'm not wearing one. I'm sorry now I killed you, for our love was something fine. And till they come to get me, I shall hold your hand in mine. Yes? Yes? Oh, you should see her she's sobbing with sentiment, or maybe she's holding that paperweight for another reason. Anyway, that was by Tom Lehrer, whose work we will visit again shortly. Right now, it's a return to Noel Coward. And he introduced this next number as a song about a singularly disagreeable lady from South America who failed to emulate the admirable example set by all her compatriots, and throughout her long and tawdry life, resolutely refused to dance. Her name was Nina. Senorita Nina from Argentina knew all the answers. Although her relatives and friends were perfect dancers, she swore she'd never dance a step until she died. She said, I've seen too many movies, and all they prove is too idiotic. They all insist that South America's exotic, whereas it couldn't be more boring if it tried. She added firmly that she hated the sound of soft guitars beside a still lagoon. She also positively stated that she could not abide a southern moon. She said, I hate to be pedantic, but it drives me nearly frantic when I see that unromantic, sycophantic lot of sluts forever wriggling their guts. It drives me absolutely nuts. She refused to begin the beginning when they requested it, and she made an embarrassing scene if anyone suggested it, for she detested it. Though no one ever could be Tina, the little Nina, on quite a number, a very eligible man who did the rumba. When they proposed to her, she simply left them flat. She said that love should be impulsive, but not convulsive, and syncopation had a discouraging effect on procreation, and that she'd rather read a book, and that was that. Senorita Nina from Argentina despised the tango, although she never was a girl to let a man go. She wouldn't sacrifice her principles for sex. She looked with scorn on the gyrations of her relations, who danced the conga, and swore that if she had to stand it any longer, she'd lose all dignity and wring their silly necks. She said that frankly she was blinded to all their over-advertised romantic charms. And then she got more bloody-minded and told them where to put their tropic palms. And she could not refrain from saying that their idiotic swaying and those damn guitars playing were an insult to her race, and that she really couldn't face such international disgrace. She declined to begin the begin when they besought her to, and with language profane and obscene, she cursed the man who taught her to. She cursed Cole Porter too. From this it's fairly clear that Nina, in her demeanor, was so offensive that when the hatred of her friends grew too intensive, she thought she'd better beat it while she had the chance. After some trial and tribulation, she reached the station and met a sailor who had acquired a wooden leg in Venezuela, and so she married him because he couldn't dance. There surely never could have been a more irritating girl than Nina. They never speak in Argentina of this degenerate bambina who had the luck to find romance, but resolutely wouldn't dance. She wouldn't dance. Thank you. Next time we'll sing Arthur Murray Taught Me Dancing in a Hurry. That's a real song, you know. Mildred Bailey and Helen O'Connell recorded it. O'Connell, that was Bob. I'm getting the from my wife, who we really do have to thank for working the board here for us tonight. And don't you go saying anything about her alopecia. Alopecia, gentil alopecia. No, like you should talk anyway.
I didn't say a word.
About time. So, you know that problem when a friend of yours starts dating someone who you know is totally inappropriate, and you try to find something to say that could serve as a warning, and you realize it's useless. Here's a tender illustration of that taking compass bearings for the ordnance survey on an army training camp on Salisbury Plain. I had packed up my theodolite, was calling it a day, when I heard a voice that sang a sad refrain. Oh, my darling armadillo, let me tell you of my love. Listen to my armadillo roundelay. Be my fellow on my pillow underneath this weeping willow. Be my darling armadillo all the day. She's my sweet I was somewhat disconcerted by this curious affair, for a single armadillo you alone on Salisbury Plain in summer is comparatively rare, while a pair of them is practically unknown. Drawn by that mellow solo there I followed on my bike to discover what these armadillo lovers would be. Oh, my darling armadillo, how delightful it would be if for us those silver wedding bells would chime. Let the orange blossoms billow, you need only say I will. Oh, be my darling armadillo all the time. Then I saw them in a hollow by a yellow muddy bank, an armadillo singing to an armor-plated tank. Should I tell him, gaunt and rusting, with the willow tree above, this, abandoned on maneuvers, is the object of your love? I left him to his singing, cycled home without a pause. Never tell a man the truth about the one that he adores. On the breeze that follows sunset, I could hear that sad refrain, singing willow, willow, willow down the way. And I seem to hear it still, oh, vive l'amour, vive l'armadillo, be my darling armadillo all the day. Be my darling armadillo all the day. Thank you. That's a song by Michael Flanders and Donald Swan, the British songwriting pair whose work we favor. It's one of several animal songs that they wrote, and we're going to visit another one before too long. But Right now, we're going to stay with Flanders and Swan to examine a more serious issue. Now, on the surface, this tells a terrifying story of date rape, but as you parse it further, you realize that a key problem in the lyric is its use of a literary device that's known as a zeugma or solipsis. Now, you'll hear 3 examples of it, so you'll have plenty of time to make up your mind which of those it is. She was young, she was pure, she was new, she was nice, she was fair, she was sweet, 17. He was old, he was vile, and no stranger to vice. He was base, he was bad, he was mean. He had slyly inveigled her up to his flat to view his collection of stamps. And he said as he hastened to put out the cat, the wine, his cigar, and the lamps, "Have some Madeira, my dear. You really have nothing to fear. I'm not trying to tempt you, that wouldn't be right. You shouldn't drink spirits at this time of night. Have some Madeira, my dear. It's so very much nicer than beer. Now, I don't care for sherry. One cannot drink stout. And port is a wine I can well do without. It's simply a case of chacun sans doubt. Have some Madeira, my dear." Unaware of the wiles of the snake in the grass or the fate of the maiden who dopes, she lowered her standards by raising her glass, her courage, her eyes, and his hopes. She sipped it, she drank it, she drained it, she did. He quietly refilled it again. And he said as he secretly carved one more notch on the butt of his gold-handled cane, "Have some Madeira, my dear. I've got a small cask of it here. And once it's been opened, you know it won't keep. To finish it up, it will help you to sleep. Have some Madeira, my dear. It's really an excellent year." Now, if it were gin, you'd be wrong to say yes. The evil gin does would be hard to assess. Besides, it's inclined to affect me prowess. Have some Madeira, my dear. Then there flashed through her mind what her mother had said with her anti-penultimate breath. "Oh, my child, you do look on the wine when 'tis red. Be prepared for a fate worse than death." She let go her glass with a shrill little cry. Crash, tinkle, it fell to the floor. When he asked what in heaven, she made no reply. Up her mind and a dash for the door. "Have some Madeira, my dear," rang out down the hall loud and clear. A tremulous cry that was filled with despair as she paused to take breath in the cool midnight air. "Have some Madeira, my dear." The words seemed to ring in her ear. Until the next morning she woke up in bed with a smile on her lips and an ache in her head, and a beard in her ear hole that tickled and said, "Have some Madeira, my dear." Thank you. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm shocked. Shocked, I tell you. Did you hear those lyrics? She made no reply, up her mind, and a dash for the door. Could be zeugma. Could be solipsis. I just don't know for sure. Okay. I'm glad to know you're so deeply involved in this with me. We spoke before of the role one's parents could play in ensuring that one doesn't make a serious mistake when heading down that treacherous alley called courtship. Now, the mother in that last song tried to give advice with her anti-penultimate breath, but our next candidate finds Mom a more enthusiastic participant. I seem to be the victim of a cruel jest. It dogs my footsteps with the girl I love the best. She's just the sweetest thing that I have I've ever known. But still we never get the chance to be alone. My car will meet her, and her mother comes too. It's a two-seater, and her mother comes too. At Ciro's when I am free, at dinner, supper, or tea, she loves to shimmy with me, and her mother does too. We buy her trousseau, and her mother comes too. Ask not to do so, still her mother comes too. She simply can't take a snub. I go and sulk at the club, then have a bath and a rub, and her brother comes too. We lunch at Maxim's, and her mother comes too. How large a snack seems when her mother comes too. And when they're visiting me, we finish afternoon tea. She loves to sit on my knee, and her mother does too. To golf we started, and her mother came too. 3 bags I carted when her mother came too. She fainted just off the tee. My darling whispered to me, "Thank God, at last we are free." Then her mother came too. Thank you. You saw that coming, right? You saw that coming? No, you didn't. When Bobby Short performed it, he would reach that point and look at the audience and say, "You wouldn't dare." Anyway, that was written by Ivor Novello, a British matinee idol in the mid-20th century, also known for his song "Keep the Home Fires Burning," which not surprisingly is in our repertory. I can't say I've ever been saddled with a parent accompanying me on a date, but I did learn early on that if a potential girlfriend's mother liked me, the romance was doomed. Of course, that was probably because they didn't get to know me well. Once I'd get seriously involved with someone, her mother would hate me. They're so picky, expecting me to have a job. Huh. No laugh from our technical director. Okay, now, here is an oddity. Now, these lyrics for the next song circulated anonymously for many years, but the age of the internet allows no such luxury. It turns out that this study of what used to be called Children of a Love Match, or more succinctly, royalty, was written for the Dutch Treat Club show in New York in 1933 by Ogden Nash, with music by Robert Armbruster, who's best known as a conductor for many radio shows. And it explains why you don't need much postpartum parental participation at all in order to achieve success. I'm an autocratic figure in these democratic states. I'm a dandy demonstration of hereditary traits. As the children of the baker bake the most delicious breads, as the sons of Casanova fill the most exclusive beds, as the Barrymore, the Roosevelts, and others I could name inherited the talents that perpetuate their fame. My position in the structure of society I owe to the qualities my parents bequeathed me long ago. My pappy was a gentleman and musical to boot. He used to play piano in a house of ill repute. The madam was a lady and a credit to her cult. She enjoyed my pappy's playing, and I was the result. So my mammy and my pappy are the ones I have to thank, that I'm chairman of the board of the National County Bank. Oh, our parents forgot to get married. Oh, our parents forgot to get wed. Did a wedding bell chime? It was always a time when our parents were somewhere in bed. They were somewhere in bed. Oh, thanks to our two loving parents, we are kings in the land of the free. Your banker, your broker, your Washington joker. Three prominent bastards are we. Tra-la-la-la-la. Three prominent bastards are we. I should note that this song was intended to be sung by a vocal quartet, each man taking one of the solos and then all four singing the refrain. This is why I switched from the first-person singular in the verses to a kind of royal we. It's not my usual affected royal we. But you just have to imagine that there are four of me, and that shouldn't be too difficult. In a cozy little farmhouse, in a cozy little dell, a dear old-fashioned farmer and his daughter used to dwell. She was pretty, she was charming, she was tender, she was mild, and her sympathies were such that she was frequently with child. The year her hospitality attained a record high, she became the happy mammy of an infant, which was I. Whenever she was gloomy, I could always make her grin by childishly inquiring who my pappy might have been. The hired man was favored by the girls in Mammy's set, and a traveling man from Scranton was an even money bet. But such were Mammy's motives and such was her allure, that even Walter Winchell wasn't altogether sure. Well, I took my mammy's morals, and I took my pappy's crust, and I grew to be the founder of a big investment trust. Oh, our parents forgot to get married. Oh, our parents forgot to get wed. Did a wedding bell chime? It was always a time when our parents were somewhere in bed. They were somewhere in bed. Oh, thanks to our two loving parents, we are kings in the land of the free. Your banker, your broker, your Washington joker. Three prominent bastards are we. Tra-la-la-la-la. Three prominent bastards are we. On a lonesome southern chain gang, on a dusty southern road, my late lamented daddy made his permanent abode. Now some were there for stealing, but Daddy's only fault was an overwhelming weakness for criminal assault. His philosophy was simple and free from moral tape. Seduction is for sissies, a he-man wants his rape. Daddy's total list of victims was embarrassingly rich, and though one of them was Mammy, he couldn't tell me which. Well, I didn't go to college, but I got me a degree. I reckon I'm the model of a perfect SOB. I'm a debit to my country, but a credit to my dad. I am the most expensive senator the country ever had. I remember Daddy's warning that raping is a crime, unless you rape the voters 1,000,000 at a time. Oh, our parents forgot to get married. Oh, our parents forgot to get wed. Did a wedding bell chime? It was always a time when our parents were somewhere in bed. Tra-la-la-la, in bed. Yes, thanks to our two loving parents, we are scions of society's thing. Whoa. Let me try that again. Oh, thanks to our two loving parents, we are kings in the land of the free. Your banker, your broker, your Washington joker. 3 prominent bastards are we, tra-la-la-la, 3 prominent bastards are we. But what about us? What about the rest of us? I'm an ordinary figure in these democratic states, a pathetic demonstration of hereditary traits. As the children of the cops possess the flattest kind of feet, and the daughter of a floozy has a wiggle to her seat. My position at the bottom of society I owe to the qualities my parents bequeathed me long ago. My father was a married man, and what is even more, he was married to my mother, a fact that I deplore. I was born in holy wedlock, consequently by and by I was rooked by every bastard who had plunder in his eye. I invested, I deposited, I voted every fall. And if I saved a penny, then the bastards took it all. At last I've learned my lesson, and I'm on the proper track. I'm a self-appointed bastard, and I'm going to get it back. Oh, our parents forgot to get married. Oh, our parents forgot to get wed. Did a wedding bell chime? It was always a time when our parents were somewhere in bed. They were somewhere in bed. Oh, thanks to our 2 loving parents, we are kings in the land of the free. Your banker, your broker, your Washington joker. 4 prominent bastards are we, tra-la-la-la-la, 4 prominent bastards are we. There. That's about all you need to know about society. We're going to take a brief break here, just a few minutes, and try to redeem ourselves on the other side of intermission, that is, yes. So, intermission time. I leave it to the technical director to take us there. Okay, I'm going to tune in just to make sure the music's playing.
So,
Oh, mic down.
Here's to my best romance, and here's to my worst romance. Here's to my first romance, ages ago. Here's to the girls I've kissed, and to complete that list, here's to the girls who said no. Hip, hip, love, love, hooray for love. Who was ever too blasé for love? Make this a night for love. If we have to fight, let's fight for love. Some sigh and cry for love, but in Paris they die for love. Some say we pay for love, but today, hooray for love. It's a wonder of the world. It's a rocket to the moon. It gets you high, it gets you low, but once you get that glow, some trust to fate for love, others have to take off weight for love. Some go berserk for love, loafers even go to work for love. Sad songs are sobbed for love, people get their noses bobbed for love. Some say we pay for love, just the same, hooray for love. Love, love, hooray for love. Who was ever too blasé for love? Make this a night for love. If we have to fight, let's fight for love. Some sigh and cry for love, but in Paris they die for love. Some not today, hooray. Oh, love.
Easy come, easy go. That's the way. If love must have its day, then as it came, let it go. No remorse, no regret. We should part exactly as we met.